Hello, powerful one. Welcome to this edition of Inner Growth to Sales by Pain. Let's talk about perspective. What is it? Perspective is an angle of view. It is a position from which an event, or person, things are registered. Now, remember again that you are working with your mind. Your mind does not have the level of awareness and power and independence as your soul, the real you. But of course, the mind would have to function on the basis of the interpretations that you have given to life. And those interpretations, we refer to them as data. When an interpretation becomes irregular, it becomes automatic in defining how you respond to situations, then we call it a program. The function of a program is to direct you without you being present all the time to make a decision. Your mind has a way of reading your pattern. If your patterns over a period of time regarding a particular decision have followed a consistent path, then your mind takes it as default and begins to function along that line. For example, if people insult you and you take it to heart and you decide that you must avenge, you must return the coin for what it is, you hit back, you attack back. If you've done it once, twice, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7, 10, 20 times, mind does not need to ask you again. Mind concludes that that is the pattern you've accepted. Then mind begins to respond to insult with automaticity. And if you find out that somebody insults you, even attempt to insult you, you hit back without even thinking twice. It's no longer you that are doing it, it's just autopilot. There are people who are very witty. You meet them, you say something, find out that they have a ready answer to give. Why? They were not always like that. They practiced it. Maybe they had somebody who was like that and they emulated such a person, or maybe their uncle, their father, their mother, somebody in the family behaved like that, or they read books like that where a character, acted like that. They loved it and they look forward to becoming like that. They practiced, and over time it becomes automatic. Now mind understands that this is what you want. You want an automatic response at the witty level, and the mind delivers it. The mind is a very good friend of the human being. All the mind requires of you is to be consistent. Just give it instruction by consistent repetition. That is how it works. Now, when it comes to perspective, it is also the same way we live our lives. We live our lives on the basis of the angle of view. We do not really live our lives in the real sense of the word on the basis of how things are. We live our lives on the basis of how we see things. Now, the question is, what is your perspective on life? There is a general perspective which states that I know that I am alive. I know the purpose for which I am alive. My purpose is to add, is to contribute to life, is to make sure that when people come into contact with me, they are better off than what they were before they came into contact with me. I am not an injurer of humanity. Rather, I am a healer of humanity. I am a contributor to humanity. When that is your perspective, then therefore means that when you see people, like Confucius will say, when you come across people that are vile, when you come across dirty and filthy, bad characters, you should not be judging them. That's what I have been saying to you. Don't be judging. Confucius says, when you see such characters, look inwards. Because they don't just happen. We don't meet people on the basis of happenstance. People are attracted our way because of who we are at that particular time. Is it possible that at that point in time, you are just exactly like that person and life is showing you this is who you are? And if you don't like it, what should you do? You look inwards and make a change. How do we really change? We don't change by just saying it. We don't change by just intending it. We have to consistently keep the intention running. The intention to change must run for a period of time. Now, it's not just the intention running, it's also that when events happen that will make us behave contrary to that intention, that will make us behave autopilot of the past, then we make a stop. Some people are trying to change, they are trying to become better human beings, and when temptations come and they fail, they give up. They feel that, oh, 3 times I have been tested on this anger thing, I keep failing, therefore it's not working. No, you will have to be tested for at least 20 times. Mind will keep throwing things your way that will make you behave that way. You have to be consistent. Change without pain is not worth it. There has to be pain because you are acting against the normal order of things that you have created. Don't forget, your life is your creation. You have been the one creating those responses, those reactions to life. Right now, you want to change. Then to change is not an easy thing. It is easy when you understand the working of the human mind, the working of your mind, knowing that your mind will resist novelty. It will resist new things. But you see, if you keep persisting, the new thing becomes a norm. And when the mind sees it as a norm, it takes it under the automatic level of response. It becomes autopilot and you become free. This is how difficult tasks become very easy. They become second nature. It is by consistent repetition. You have chosen a life. Okay, what is that life? Now, the reason most of us don't even understand how to make use of our perspective is that we don't even have a decision about life. We just wake up and we go with the motion of things. But the question is, have you asked yourself, what is my life? When you have a life, a decision to say, I am an honest, productive, life-enhancing entity. With me, all things go well. Is that your life? Therefore, what will be the perspective of that life? The perspective of that life is the perspective of power. It is the perspective that is in control, that says that it doesn't matter what happens around me. What counts is what happens within me in relation to the things that happen around me. Okay? Now, what is this all about? 2 people have an experience, same time, same day. One is ruined for life from that experience. The other becomes wiser and stronger for life from the same experience. What do you think is responsible? It is perspective. It is how they take it. Some say it is genetic. Some say, oh, it is their background. But the truth is this. What is genetic? What is background? Genetic simply means the learned pattern of the parents, of the family, that has been inherited without questioning by the person. That's genetic. Background is the social pattern of the individual. It could be that of the immediate family. It is the learned pattern of the society, of the immediate environment of a person that the person has imbibed without questioning. That is it. But the question is, if your family has a particular way of responding to things and it has not served them well, why should you be like that? If you want to be better than your environment, if you want to be better than your birth, if you want to be better than your situation, you have to have a perspective that is different, that is higher than your environment. You can't be surrendering to the way you have been brought up to see life and expect that you'll be better than that life you've been living. It's not possible. You have to create a new angle to life, a new angle of view. That angle of view has to be positive. It has to be pro-life. A pro-life simply means a mindset, an event, a situation, a person that against all odds is in favor of life. It doesn't matter what the experiences are. It doesn't matter what the physical situation is. When you focus on being alive and you are focused on succeeding against all odds thrown at you, that says you are pro-life. And I tell you one thing, life rewards pro-life experiences. You know why? If you persist on being successful, if you persist on being well in the midst of debilitating ailment, in the midst of a very bad sickness that nobody thinks you survive from, if you are in a very poor situation, physical, material situation, and people think that it is over, and you begin to think it is not over, you will realize that life will wake up in your favor. The powers that are behind every single human being is unbelievable. I have seen a picture on the internet where a pawpaw, very stunted pawpaw that was growing on a wall, a cement wall, produced. That is the level of pro-life mentality. If you say, against all odds, I choose to live. When a person says, I choose to live against all odds, and the person holds on to that mentality of and that decision that I choose to live, I tell you, turn all the demons on the planet against that person, the person will live. Do you know why he will live? When the person keeps persisting in the front of all the challenges that say die, 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 and the person keeps pushing, do you know what? The agents of death that are at that person, that are against that person, will begin to admire that person, and they will pull back. That's what the Bible says, that when a man's ways please God, his enemies, he makes his enemies to be at peace with him. It's about a decision. Life is not for the weak. It's not for those who are looking for excuses not to succeed. You want to become successful at your studies, and then you read today, you forget, you read tomorrow, you forget. All I say to you is keep reading. Just keep reading. Keep practicing. One day you will wake up and realize you are so good. I remember when I started out my martial arts career when I was a teenager, there were a few exercises that were very deadly, that were very painful to me. But you know what? My coach told me, do them in the morning, do them in the afternoon, do them at night. I was doing those exercises every single day as instructed. But guess what? It became very simple over time. The same thing with trainings. There were a particular kick that was very deadly to me. If you use that kick against me, you will get me. Call it the ass kick. It drops. And they only use people that were taller and bigger than I to challenge me on those areas. But guess what? When I began to rehearse, one day I was on, what is this thing about this kick that always grounded me? Why can't I know it? I made it a duty to know that kick, to know how to defend myself against that kick. I was in my room one day, trying to sleep after I had exercised, and then the kick came. I saw the guy in slow motion bringing down the leg, and I saw different perspectives, different angles from which I could escape that kick. I got up that moment, I practiced it, and I relaxed. The next day I went to the dojo, to the training ground the next day, and I said I was ready. The guy came about 6 feet, 6'5", and he came with the kick. I brought him down. It was so simple, and they didn't believe it. But that's what happens when you persist. Everything in life is an angle. There is nothing that is too bad. What makes it too bad is that you have not studied the nature of that thing, or you have not given yourself a nature, a perspective to look at those things. If you give yourself that mentality that says, I am a human being that succeeds against all odds. I am a human being. The powers in me are immense. There is no force in the universe that can go against the flow of my command. None. Now, when you say that, you are sending energies out there. There are forces that will test you. And when they do test you, and you hold on to that thing, over time, they will cease from testing you. It is all about focus and persistency. Change your perspective. This doesn't matter what you have gone through. Doesn't matter what experiences you've had in your life. It's not enough for you to throw away your humanity. The days of using your experiences as excuses for your failures and for your sicknesses have ended. The moment you are seeing this video, you know what it's telling you is that those excuses are no longer, they're no longer working. Your life can no longer afford to be the way they have been now. Your life has to change. Focus on your goal. Focus on what life you have chosen for yourself, and believe that it is possible. That is a perspective. The perspective on possibilities. The angle of possibilities. The angle that says all things are possible. Christ said, all things are possible to them that believe. Believe in what? Some believe in other human beings. Some believe in circumstances, that when circumstances are right, things will work for them. But there are people who believe in themselves. Okay, when you believe in yourself, you are believing in God. I keep saying this. Those who believe in themselves believe in their maker. When you have self-belief, and when situations happen, what we have left is yourself. Therefore, the belief can never end. But when you have beliefs in circumstances, that when I do this, this will happen. When this happens, this will happen. When I'm in this situation, somebody will come to my aid. If you have those beliefs that are social-centric, that are outer-centric, you're not going to get anything, because when those things fail, you are left alone. This is why we say believe in yourself. Because when you believe in yourself, at the end of all things, when things are so tough, what you will have left is yourself. Then you can afford to believe. And yourself is magical. There is so much power within you that you don't know. Your power, your human power, is connected to the source, to the divine intelligence that controls, that connects all things together. Therefore, if you keep that faith going on in yourself, that divine intelligence will rise in your favor, and it will sound like magic. It will happen. Thank you.
Na